Hey y'all, what's up? Big Wooly here, and welcome back to another episode of our All the Mods 10 Let's Play. In today's episode, we're finally going to be getting into Mekanism. We're going to work on automating hostile neural networks, and we're hopefully going to get into the reaction chamber from Extended AE or Advanced AE, one of them AE add-ons. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, let's go check the don't get distracted woolly chest in the barrel, and oh my gosh, would you look at that? Oh, it's a sunrise. I thought it was a sunset. I mean, this may only be Minecraft, y'all, but that was pretty spectacular timing. Anyways, handy dandy clipboard. It says, yep, Mekanism, check. Hostile neural networks, check. Powered centrifuge, which we need Mekanism for. We need these infuser enrichment chamber to get to the powered centrifuge. Automated crystal assembler. That's low-hanging fruit. We can kind of mark that off. So the crystal assembler was up here. We were doing it by hand, and I added it down here, but I don't remember if we ever covered me putting any recipes in it with a pattern provider. Maybe we did, but I went ahead and added a bunch of extended AE recipes. Extended molecular assembler, extended pattern provider, extended ME interface, and the extended drive are all in here and can be auto-crafted. And since I had access to all that extra, I've already upgraded all my molecular assemblers to these, which are almost a waste now because they're just, yeah, it's so fast, and they can do up to 8 crafts per each of these. So we need way more coprocessors in each of our CPUs to even be able to saturate more than one of these. So essentially we'd need like 8 coprocessors in a block to fully utilize one extended molecular assembler on a pattern provider. We'll get into stuff that's going to get us there, but not right now. We did this in the bees episode. We're going to replace it with the powered one, hopefully. But we seem to be in a pretty steady supply of Prospera comb. Yeah, we've got more of it coming in than we can process right now, so we definitely need to get this sped up. And this one does take some upgrades, but the powered one is even faster, and we will be able to add upgrades to it as well. And that is part of what we want to get into today. So, in case you don't watch the live streams or anything, I've been doing some off-camera work, and I have cleared out underneath my base with all of my currently claimed and force-loaded chunks. I cleared all that area underground to give me an idea of place to hide ugly machines. Because, you know, none of this is very pretty, right? And we're going to need more space as we get into automating our star. So this is kind of my footprint right now for area. Now, we can go down lower. And don't pay any attention to this. This is for Friday's episode, but, you know, it's there. You know, it's the elephant in the room. We're going to get into it. Subnetting, all the crazy, managing your channels, peer-to-peer tunnels. Yep, that's coming next episode. Mekanism. Back on track. You know, I got the don't get distracted woolly barrel, but I get distracted. So let's start with Mekanism. Where do you go when you want to start on something new and all the mods? Let's go to the quest book. Let's collapse a bunch of this stuff to get it out of the way. So Mekanism. We have found raw osmium, and we have made an osmium ingot. It wants us to make a heat generator so that we can get going, and we don't need a heat generator anymore because we've already got power coming in, but let's just make one just to satisfy the quest book. And we can remove that, and then what does it give us? Some free osmium. Next, this is the one we actually need to get into for the powered centrifuge. So the metallurgy confuser is how we're going to make our basic control circuit, and we need that to make the powered centrifuge, which is the main reason we are chasing down this stuff. And I already have it pinned right up there in the upper left. It's basic materials other than the osmium. Everything else we already have. Let's make a metallurgy confuser. A metaller what? All right. Now that we've made that, this unlocks multiple quest lines throughout Mekanism. Steel, which we've been doing with a hammer, but now we can do it with the metallurgy confuser and automate it. That's going to be great. But we already have a seed, so it's kind of a moot point. Now, basic control circuit. It says we've already made some, but I'm guessing we must have got them as quest rewards, or maybe just now gotten them as a quest reward. So, in theory, we could be done with Mekanism for today, because handy dandy clipboard says all I really need it for is the powered centrifuge. But I won't leave you guys hanging like that. So, getting started in Mekanism, it does start with the metallurgic infuser here. You need power, but we already have power coming in from, really just all sorts of places. But we have, power coming in mainly from our reactor right now, which is running on the uraniums and spitting out the cyanide, and it is wholly inefficient. And we do need to get some stuff on there to get it to cycle and quit wasting my uranium. But for today, that won't matter. So here's our metallurgic infuser. This block takes in chemicals. So like redstone, for example, if we put that in there, that gives us 50 millibuckets of like gaseous redstone. And now if we look at the recipe of a basic control circuit, you'll notice it takes 20 millibuckets and an osmium ingot, and that's going to give us a basic control circuit. So let's go ahead and just grab out some osmium. We've got plenty made. It doesn't look like we've made a seed yet, so that would definitely be a good seed for us to just bookmark to get done later. I won't make you watch it, but we will get it done. So we toss in our osmium. This is going to use up some power. Let's see. Do we have any more gates? I've got a starter gate. Hopefully that's enough. Get this thing some power before it runs out. And there you have it. So that is how we make our basic control circuit. This is what we needed to get into Mekanism today to be able to do. But I want to cover a little bit more with you. So the enrichment chamber is another one that I have pinned that I want to get covered. And this here does require these basic control circuits we've made. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to stretch our materials. Now, this is something that we should just go ahead and make a pattern for right here. This is a steel casing. It is the core component of a lot of Mekanism machines. So let's go ahead and just make a pattern for that. And let's get it into our... Oh, I'm trying to put the actual item in there. Oops. All right, trying to put the actual item in there. But there we go. So now we've got a pattern for that. And we should be able to craft up our enrichment chamber. The enrichment chamber... the quest achievement says it all. That's why I want to cover it with you. Getting more from less. So what this is going to allow us to do is you saw me put in 5 pieces of redstone and it only gave me 50 millibuckets. Well, if we take the same redstone, let's grab some out of storage. If we take our same piece of redstone and we put it in the enrichment chamber, it's going to give us enriched redstone. And that enriched redstone, instead of just giving us 10 millibuckets a piece, when we put it in here, it gave us 80 millibuckets. So instead of just getting 10 for one redstone, it's 8 times more efficient to enrich your materials and make enriched. And you can do this with redstone. You can do it with carbon or coal. You can do it with diamond. You can do it with obsidian, gold, tin, and iron. Now, enriched iron doesn't get used for anything other than making steel. This is the Mekanism way to automate it. So when you go to uses on enriched iron, it is used for reactor glass too, apparently. But enriched iron, the main reason you use it is to make steel dust in Mekanism. You basically take 2 of these, put them next to each other, feed them with coal or enriched coal in there, carbon, and it will spit steel dust out the other side. That's kind of how they intend for you to get to it early on. We did it with hammers because this is all the mods 10 and we can do it that way. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Now, one other Mekanism thing that you may need for stuff you're getting into, we don't need it for anything we're doing today, but do want to cover it for you, is the electrolytic separator. So the electrolytic separator is used for a bunch of things, but one of the early things that you're going to use the electrolytic separator for, which we're not doing anything with it today, but want to cover it just in case, is you are going to use it to split water into hydrogen and oxygen for your various Mekanism machines. Now, it has a component that we need to make in our metallurgic infuser. It takes redstone and a copper ingot, and that makes infused alloy. So if we grab out some copper, make me 1,000. I love that. And then you toss it in here, we're going to see it be enriched there. And it's going to spit out the infused alloy that we need to make the electrolytic separator. The infused alloy and the basic control circuits are your step 1 Mekanism machines. But just like with everything else in all the mods 10, if you're not familiar, come in here, check your quest book, because you're going to notice I'm kind of going off of memory and straight up walking through this. Look, it's literally the electrolytic separator is quite literally the next thing they want you to make here. And that was probably where I got it from, but I actually no joke, I did all that from memory. I just pinned what all I thought we needed. So if we come in here now, we still need to make our core, which we're going to need some dust for. Interesting. We need osmium dust and iron dust. So let's pin those. Osmium dust, we can just hit some with a hammer. Cool. Iron dust, same thing. Let's hit some with a hammer. And then now we ought to be able to make the electrolytic core, which is the base of the electrolytic separator. We need one more of these infused alloys. And there we go. Now this is, oh, look at that. We get a quest completion for our sink we made forever ago. If we come up here to, we've got a sink right here. So we can just do a down and dirty demonstration here in the middle of the kitchen. We will tear it up in a minute so that it doesn't stay here. But we're going to grab out some of the fluid pipes. And then I'm going to swap over to my wrench and our tool belt here. And if we put a pipe from there to there and we feed it in, you're going to notice this just kicks off and starts going. And it's going to make two things, hydrogen and oxygen. These are used for all sorts of other Mekanism processes down the line. But I want to go over the basics of the machine while we're here with you. You've got two things here where it says idle and idle. These are, if you want to use one of these to say make hydrogen and you don't care what it does with the oxygen, if you come over here and click that, you'll see that says dumping excess. So what it'll do is if the machine fills up on oxygen, it's going to stop because it has nowhere to send it. But if you change this to dumping excess, once it gets to there, it will just quite literally void the excess oxygen and continue to make the hydrogen that you need it to make. And it works both ways. So you can put it over here on dumping excess. So once this gets to the top with the hydrogen here, you'll notice that it's not making any more right now, but we are still gaining on our oxygen on this side. So it's not going to make any more because if it did, it's going to shut off when it gets to the top there. But because we had it on dumping excess and this was so low, it didn't want the machine to shut off. So as we go, look, there you go. So not enough room for the output, but if we go to dumping excess, now it's going to keep making until it fills up on oxygen. That's useful for any processes you're doing in the electrolytic separator. You're going to use this to split brine and a couple of other things down the road, but wanted to cover that with you guys, even though we're not going to be using it right now today. So let's take a look at the clipboard and see what we can mark off. I think we get to mark off a bunch. So we did Mekanism, we did the infuser, we did the enrichment chamber. Those are all done. Now, the main reason we got into this was for the powered centrifuge. Powered centrifuge. This is for our productive bees. Now that we have our two control circuits we need, we can make the powered centrifuge. It's gonna, like it says, require power, but it will be significantly faster than this one right here. We can quite literally just, well, if you can learn to place it, Wooly, we can quite literally place it in the same spot, and it's going to do the same things the other one was doing, but once we give it power, it's just going to do them faster. So let's grab out of our handy-dandy backpack, let's grab some energy pipes. We can come right off of this one, power it, And there you go. Look at how much faster it spins those combs than the other ones. And all of our export imports, everything is working just like it was before, except this is going to process through and we might actually get through all the combs we have in our storage, and we can still augment it with speed upgrades. We'll do that at a later time, but that gets us that one marked off the list. Woo, that was a doozy. You guys keeping up? Y'all still with me? I mean, I know I talk fast and I'm all over the place, but here we go. So we're going to pick up these two mechanism machines because we're not going to have our mechanism be right here in the middle of the floor. We're going to set it up somewhere more proper, probably in between episodes once I get some subnets and stuff going. For now, into the backpack you go, scoundrels. And then we're going to toss those in there. And we should be able to just grab our axe back out. All right. Next on the list is integrating hostile neural networks. Now, we're going to need some channels for this. And with the impending doom of that giant cube, let's come over here. Because right now, I got plenty of channels there. I can carry this dense... Oh, God. I can carry this dense cable if I can get here. I can carry this dense cable further out, and as you can see, I've got about 20... I've got 22 channels still left. So if I bring this dense cable out to where we're starting, we'll have more than enough for our hostile neural networks that we want to get into today. So let's break some of these and over to, I don't know, here-ish. All right, and then we need some more dense cable. Make me, not 100. Make me like 30, just so we've got it. Okay, toss that in there. So we're going to wait on this to get some dense cables coming out for us. Yeah, that should be more than enough. So now if we bring our cable out here with dense cable, now we've got the ability to utilize all 22 channels out here, really, if we need, without having to, do any funky P2P or subnetting or anything like that. So we're going to bring down a smart cable so that we don't have to hover in the air. And if we need to bring down dense and make it, later, we will. But that should be about the right height for where we're going to get started. We're going to need some things. So if we come back upstairs real quick to the Don't Get Distracted barrel, which I think I've not gotten distracted. We're doing okay today. You'll notice I've got 12 simulation chambers and 12 loot fabricators. We also have only, I think, 11 data models. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10. So we've got a few extra. But those are ones that we all already had made up. Now we just want to make it where these run all the time. They're going to produce the drops. They're going to dump them back into storage. And we're going to be good to go. So actually, I think I want to go one block higher just to make sure we have enough room. And if we do simulation chambers, let's make a row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What did I say we have? 10, 9, 10. Okay, so we can carry down right here. Let's hover. And 1, 2, 3. Let's do that. So we're going to bring down some channels right here. And we're going to bring down some channels over there. And then if we just come right here, the thing we want is we don't want these to connect in the middle. So we need what's called an anchor. These are real cheap to make. I don't know if we've made them together, but you got to have your knife, which you just click it and craft it, and then any ingot. And it's going to make a cable anchor. And what it does is we're going to put this. We've got, what, 1, 2, 1. Yeah, we're going to put this on the end of this cable right here. And then when we bring this cable over, these two sides are going to stay separate. So now I'll have this cable going up to the main wire, and I'll have this cable going up to the main wire. And each of these cables is really only technically capable of 8 channels carrying, but we have 22 available to us on the main pipe. And this is going to allow us to get our buses we need into these without having to, have a bunch of other convoluted mess. So now what we need is an export bus for each of those. We want we're going to go import export buses, which we covered these in the last episode, I do believe. And we have 10 of these machines, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that 11? I don't know. All right. Our 10 import export buses, these ones from Advanced AE, import export bus. These are cool. I think we covered them in the last one. So we're going to use these to handle the automation of our simulation chambers. Now, each of them is going to get set up the same. It's going to need a crafting card. And then we're going to fill it with acceleration cards for the rest of them. And what it needs to extract is the prediction matrix. So now we're going to set each of the rest of these up exactly the same. And then we're going to come in and we're going to toss a data model into each of these simulation chambers so that they can all automatically run. And the way this will work is that anything that gets output that's not on our list, it will be able to suck back in. So let me get all these set up, and I'm going to have to bring some power over to this. We may just grab it from our main line right there. We'll get power over here to it, and I'll be right back with you. Wanted to share this trick with you guys. I kind of forgot about it. So the memory card, we're going to need it when we get into that episode for moving P2P channels and stuff, but it can also copy and paste the configuration of anything AE2. So what I did was I came over here to one of these that I had configured, the first one actually. And if you shift right click in the air, it clears the memory card. And then if you shift right click on a device that's configured, so let's go look at this one so you guys can see. It's exporting prediction matrices. It has 4 acceleration cards and a crafting card in it. And if we shift right click that to copy its configuration, it'll say copied current device configuration to memory card. Now we can come over here to this last one, which I haven't done. And if we look at it, there's nothing in here. But if I right click that with this memory card, it puts in my upgrades. I don't know if you saw those disappear off the hotbar. Puts in your upgrades, puts in your crafting card, puts in the item that you wanted it to export, all in one fell swoop. So now all of these are all configured, and all I had to do was copy the first one and paste my way along. Let me get the data models in, and we'll talk more about producing the drops. Okay, until we get better wireless power, don't judge me. There's orange cable spaghetti. It's on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. It's bad, but it's here, and these are all powered. Now let's look at just why I was so excited about these import-export buses being so perfect for this. So we could do this with pipes and pipe things directly, but it's so much easier when everything just gets pulled back in. And if you watched right there, it didn't generate a prediction, but it did give us the generalized one, and it took it back out automatically. It also refilled the prediction matrix. It's going to do that every cycle. So if you watch, we didn't get one, it took it, it refilled it. It's doing that times 10 for all of these. And now all of our predictions are getting pulled into our storage. So if we look at prediction, you're going to notice we've got, a bunch coming in for all of these. In previous series, what we've learned is that you can run about 3 different mob drops through a loot fabricator and have it consistently able to keep up with your a fully self-aware data model in a prediction matrix. So what we're going to do is just that. We're going to, right here on the back side of this, we can actually place some more. Well, hover was fine. We can place these loot fabrication chambers, and we're going to Just put them right here on this cable for the sake of less spaghetti. But what we can do is we can use these same import-export buses. So we're going to need 4 more of those. Let's get those going. These things are so great too because they do the job of what normally would have taken 2 channels on your AE2. You need your export bus with your crafting card to fill it, and then you need your import bus on the other side to pull it back, and they took 2 channels. Well, these things do it all on a single channel for us. Saves us channels, makes it cleaner and easier to configure. Oh, we filled up our 8. Okay, I didn't think about that, but that's fine. So there's 5 down below, and if we break this loot fabricator, which we could make it symmetrical and just set them up. So if we do the 3 there, we can also come right here and do 3. Let's put them in the middle, and then we'll move these others, because who am I kidding? I can't leave it like that. So if we do it like this, and then we come back here with our import-export bus. Let's go ahead and move this one too. Oh no, I've messed things up. Ah! All right, we got them all tied in, and as you'll notice, perfectly 8 and 8 channels on each side of this, so works out. It's symmetrical. We're utilizing all the channels that we brought down for this process. Now we just need to tell which drops to go to which of these things. And the best part about it is, just like the other one, it's going to export our predictions, and then as long as it's not a prediction, it doesn't care. It's not going to pull the prediction back out, but it'll pull whatever else back out of here, and we're going to want some acceleration cards in here. The downside is our memory card, we can't use it to automatically do these because we're going to kind of configure. I'm going to go with 2 different predictions per for right now and see how it goes, since we have some extras hooked up, and that way we for sure don't back up and overflow all this stuff into our storage. So let's go ahead and just pull out all of our predictions. We should have 10 total different types of predictions coming into storage. So let's grab them out, and we're going to just tell each of these that they can take 2 of them. So let's go with Warden and Cow for this one. And then if we put acceleration cards, the max it'll take 4 in there. And then we put our Warden and Cow in storage. Now it's going to be waiting on us to tell it what we want it to make with these. So for the Cow ones, let's go leather. And if we ever need to change it, we can just come in here and catch it. And then when the Warden comes through, we're going to want to tell it, well, we want it to make from the Warden drops. Then we never have to touch this again. So for right now, we're going to tell it we want it to make Echo Shards, and we will just have a ton of Echo Shards coming in. We're also going to need to go set up drawers for these items so that we don't fill our chest monster full of them. But for right now, I can do that off camera, and you've already seen how to do that process in the last video. So the next one, let's go skeleton and pig. And then if we just toss those into storage, skelly and pig. Skeleton, we want the reliquary drops for our lily pads of fertility. And then pig, I don't remember why we had pig. It's going to take it a minute to get to it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So the next one, we're going to do slime and sheep. Slime and sheep. And then we'll toss those into storage. And the slime predictions, we also want the reliquary drops for our lily pads of fertility. And it should, yep, be pulling the drops back out. We also forgot the acceleration cards and the acceleration cards. So that'll make sure that it keeps the buffer here empty, and that will get the drops into it quicker so that it can process through them. All right, on to our next one. Acceleration cards, and then we're going to go Creeper, Spider. And then if we put these in storage, so Creeper predictions, catalyzing glands, once again for our lily pads of fertility. But the thing to remember about these is if you look at uses, they can be downcrafted into all sorts of stuff. So we can make gas tiers out of those. We can make all kinds of other things with block combinations. We can get the gunpowder that you would normally get from a Creeper 2 if we need it. And then there's our fertile essence that we need these for. So it's not like we're foregoing the drop from the mob. We're just making the reliquary ones because those are what we need for the lily pads, but we can also get our base materials back if we need them, which is very important. Now, we've got Wither, Enderman, and Wither. So we have 2 stacks of Wither for some reason. That's okay. Wither and Enderman. And then if we put these in there, and we give you some acceleration cards, and then now the Wither, yep, Nether Stars. And the reason we need that is we need an absolute megaton of Nether Stars to get all the way to the end of the pack. So you're just going to want as many as you can get your system to make, and that'll do it. And then now all we have to do is we have to wait on the ones that we haven't set the second item drop. So there you go. You can see pig. We're going to tell it the only thing it can make, which is raw pork chops. Make me a ton of those. And then this one's still working on slime. Let's see if we can get through the slime to pick the secondary drop on here. Come on. You can do it. You can beat the rate of the other machine. Let's go. There we go. So now sheep. We just want wool. I don't have a good source of wool, and I want a ton of wool because you need it for all sorts of things. We'll get it in a drawer. It won't be a big deal. The rest of these, we're going to have to wait on them to process through. I will do that off camera so that you guys don't have to sit here and watch me do it. Now, we've only got a few minutes left in the recording. Let me take a look at the clipboard and see what else we have left. So hostile neural networks. We covered the crystal assembler. So we have the reaction chamber, which was a big ask. I didn't know if we were going to get there. And then we have the infinity water cell. So we need the infinity water cell to be able to do the reaction chamber. And I think it's going to push us into the next episode on the reaction chamber to have enough time to cover it. So yeah, we'll do the infinity water cell real quick because I do think I have enough dead air I can edit out to get this one down to a palatable episode, and then we'll carry that other one over into the next one. So let's head upstairs and let's talk about the next 2 things. Now, the reaction chamber actually already made the block. It's right here. But the reason that the infinity water cell is needed for that is if we go look at uses of the reaction chamber, you're going to notice this needs lava, that needs lava, this one needs water. So singularities needs lava. There was another one that we needed to make. So right here, intro infused ingots, those take water. And then osmium infused dust, which makes other quantum infusion stuff for later. This one here, redstone crystals. These need water in this chamber to process the recipe. And we need a way to get the water into our system and out of our system. And I was looking so I could take a sink and run an import bus and a filter fluid and all that. Or we can make the ME infinite water cell, which is fairly cheap. And we will be able to just stick it in our disk drive and have infinite water available to us. So I thought that looks like a much better solution for getting infinite water into our system. So let's just craft up. Everything we need is already available on AutoCraft. We're just waiting on those 2 crafts to finish. There we go. And now we have an infinite amount of water that we can just go right here into our disk drive, toss this in, and now we have unlimited water accessible inside our storage system, and it can infinitely extract from it. It looks like you might even be able to make an infinite cobblestone gen out of one of these with lava. That looks cool. Maybe we need to look into that. But anyways, that gets us all the water that we need into our system, and it sets us up for next time to be able to get into the reaction chamber and crafting the recipes that we need for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hostile neural networks right there behind me, just looking good, looking tidy other than, the mom's spaghetti cabling, but there's really not a lot of ways around that currently for us. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and we'll catch y'all next time.